smiling faces. And like when it's sunny, Srila Prabhupada said there's nowhere like England when the sun shines. So what's the opposite of that, you know? That means when the sun doesn't shine, then it can be pretty miserable. So anyway, whether it's sunny or it's raining or snowing or windy, whatever, if we're in good consciousness, if we're chanting, we are trying to glorify Krishna, then our mentality, will be high above the clouds. So please, we ask everyone to stand up and please participate in the well, so the next part, we're going to do something called Prema Dwani. So if you put your hands together, if you have room, you can bow down. So we're going to say a series of prayers. For example, if I say Vrindavan Dhamaki, you say? Yes. Okay, let's try again with a bit more enthusiasm. Okay, Vrindavan Dhamaki? Yes. Okay, that's good. You didn't make lunch. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Brahmansa Parivarajakacharya Asotan Satar Shri Sri Maan Vijay Vimai Samaya Karanara Vinda Bhaktivedanta Gosam Maharaj Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai Swati Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namaskar Srila Haridasa Thakur Ki Jai Sri Sanatan Pati Raghunathi Jiva Gopala Bhattadasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Sekawo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasti Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Madan Mohan Shama Kund Radha Kund Shri Govardhan Ki Shri Gangamai Jamunamai Ki Shri Maharani Bhakti Devi Ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yoga Dharma Ki Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Shri Ayodhya Dham Ki Bhaktapuri Dham Ki Bhaktivedanta Manor Dham Ki Vaishnava Sangha Vaishnava Seva Ki. So the next part, I say all glories to several devotees, and you say? Hare Krishna. All glories to several devotees. All glories to several devotees. All glories to several devotees. All glories to the Lord Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So we humbly request everyone, if they can maybe sit down for a few minutes. We're going to sing prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev, who is the protector of Prahlad Maharaj and the protector of all the devotees. Then after that, Mohan will take a few words and then we'll carry on.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Sarada
Krishna. So we've got Mohan Prabhu here. He just wants to share a few words of wisdom, some spiritual gems that you can take with you, some spiritual learning. So if you'd like to just pay attention, also you can ask him some questions if you like. Then after that you can go to the Haveli, they are serving prasad. There's plenty of prasad there, not to worry. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us for the Arati. And as Bhadra Prabhu said, I'd just like to share some few bit of wisdom, and then after that you can have food for the belly. So, I was giving this talk earlier on today during the Raj Bhoga Arati, and I just want to relay it again that actually our life is made of moments, and this, what you're listening to right now, you can take it with you, be inspired from it, and ask yourself, okay, how can I really improve my spiritual life? So in the Sri Ishopanishad, it talks about in Mantra 2 how this boat, this body that we reside in, this body that we live in is like a boat. And this world that we're living in is like a material ocean. It's like an ocean of suffering, an ocean of misery. But I want to put a little twist to it. I want to let's just imagine, how many of you are good with imagination? Raise your hand. Okay, fantastic. So, imagine actually we are in the boat. So I just want to ask you a bit of questions. In a boat, what is one of the, or a ship you can call it, what is one of the things that we need in a ship? It's a crew, right? I need interaction, guys, by the way. They say actually, when we're just passively listening, we're only able to retain 5% of information. But when we get interactive, when we ask questions, when we inquire, when we engage, then you're able to actually retain more than 80% of information. And that information then transforms into wisdom, wisdom that we can practicalize in our lives. And moment to moment, day to day, we're always hearing something, and it could be life-changing, but the reason why it's not life-changing is because we're not engaging with it. So let's start that again. In a boat, or in a ship, what is one of the things that we first need? Crew. I've mentioned crew. So we need a crew. A crew to make sure that the whole project is going, the whole ship is able to move forward, is able to sail to its destination. Similarly, in our life, one of the most fundamental and important things that Srila Prabhupada always encourages we need is association. The correct form of association, the right form of association. In so many ways, we're encapsulated, we're limited. But actually, when we surround ourselves with the right people, with the right association, you know what happens? Something magic happens. We develop similar spiritual qualities. We develop similar spiritual features. So many of us, we're aspiring, we want to be more compassionate, more loving, more spiritual. Then we've got to seek out for such an association, for such people. And people actually fall under 3 categories: mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness. You know, often when we surround ourselves with people that are in a lower category, we also feel a little bit lazy, tired, lethargic. We don't want to get anything done. We don't want to do anything. And then there's people that are passionate. When we surround ourselves with them, we're just running around creating several purposes, but we don't establish what the real purpose is. And because we don't establish what the real purpose is, we're going from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, asleep. Asleep to what the real purpose, the real essence of life is. Krishna consciousness is not a process that's telling you to stop your activities. It's telling you to continue performing your activities, but do it for Krishna. And that's what the right association can encourage us to do. How we can spiritualize our activities, our duties, our responsibilities, and our life. So that's the first thing, the crew. And from those crew, we can pick up many qualities, many skills that we can also utilize it. We all have different abilities. We all have different unique traits that Krishna has blessed us with. And the human form of life is so short. So if we don't use it, using our abilities to serve Krishna, then we've wasted this life. So that's the first. The second is what? What does a ship need? Compass, right? In order to be able to go, a map or something, in order to understand where it is that it's going. But they actually say that, we can't actually know what the compass of our life is without compassion. And compassion doesn't necessarily, and compassion is very beautifully connected with the other thing that I want to share, which is engagement. Real compassion isn't just feeling sympathy or empathy. In Krishna consciousness, actually, real compassion stands for feeling for the challenges, the suffering of others, but also wanting to do something about it. So we can only develop a compass in our life when we have compassion. And sometimes we may think that we're unable to do anything for anyone because we don't have the ability, we don't have the time. But actually, if your desire is there, if there's an intense desire to do something, Krishna actually gives you a will. He gives you a way. Krishna gives you a way. Krishna empowers you. The right association empowers you to be able to do things that sometimes you feel you're incapable of doing. And we've all experienced that in moments in our life, right? Where we thought that there's something that we can't do, but there was an intense desire to do it and we got it done. So now we can direct that towards spiritual life, towards our own spiritual personal growth. And when we are spiritually growing, we are able to allow, enable, and empower our children, our family, and those around us to also spiritually grow. And then the third thing is, every ship needs an engine. In our engine of life, that's the process of chanting. When we chant, we're able to actually purify the consciousness from all this contamination that we've developed time after time, birth after birth, year after year. The most interesting thing is that, things are as they are, but we don't see them as they are. We see things as we are. And we are heavily influenced under the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So when you're wearing a red sunglasses, what do you see? You see the whole world in red. When you're wearing a blue glasses, what do you see? You see the whole world in blue. So whatever modes that you're in, that's how you see the world. But the process of chanting allows us to be able to clear all that away and see things as they are. And realize how we can establish our relationship with Krishna. Am I clear so far? Does everything make sense? Fantastic. So these are some very few important points I want to make. I don't want to go on and on and on. So association, reading books, studying books, especially the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's so many books, and even if those are too comprehensive, let's say, to understand, you have many, many wonderful devotees that have written a condensed version, an understandable version. So, where there's a will, there's a way. But where there's an excuse, there's an obstacle that we'll always find for why we can't do what we could do or should do. So there's books, and then the last thing is chanting, the process of chanting. Krishna says that ultimately he looks into what is in your heart. It's not about how skillful or masterful you are at something. When you take in the process of Krishna consciousness, actually you develop wonderful qualities. But you have to have sincerity. So the last thing I'll leave you with is you've got to find an intensity that matches with your personality. That's what Krishna consciousness is about. And then you'll grow, you'll blossom. With that being said, thank you all so much. Do you have any question? Okay, you may feel a little bit shy, so we'll just end it there. There's Mahaprasadam being served in the Haveli. If you do have questions, feel free to approach me and ask personally. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I have a question to ask. Sure. I'm watching Vishnu Puran on episode 8. Second time I'm watching it. First time when I was in India, COVID breakdown, Doordarshan was showing Ramayana and Mahabharata, which was very nice. There is this story, it's about the birth of Lord Ram.
Yeah.
So this episode that I'm watching, Ravan is causing havoc. He wants to go to Patal Lok.
Yeah.
And there was a Vidyutata or something, a demon, he wanted to, get rid of him or something. So this happened on the Burlok, middle planet, or upper planet. He took over the reins of Indra, right?
Yeah.
In the Vishnu Puran. So Indra is in the heavenly planets.
Yes, Indra is in the heavenly
This is
planets.
not
No.
So now Ravan wants to go to Patalok. So how is the access to these loks?
I wouldn't know.
Huh? I hope it's not a bad question.
No, it's not a bad question. There's never such a thing as a bad question. Do you know Gudruma? The person that was just speaking before me? He would be a better person to ask. Yeah. There's no such thing as a bad question, first of all. It's just you've got to find the right person to ask the right question to.
Okay. And also something about Indra.
Yeah.
The same thing, what he did to Indra. So basically demigods are parts of Krishna.
Yeah, parts and parcel of Krishna, yeah.
Yeah, but then, his actions and what he did.
Actually,
many times
when Indra, I understand what you're saying. When Indra performs certain activities that looks like it's sort of, opposite to who Krishna is and what would Krishna do, it's purely for the sake of Leela. So sometimes Indra does certain things, like Lord Brahma, for example, when he stole the cows from Krishna, and then he became an illusion. So all these things happen actually for the pastimes of Lord Krishna, for the enjoyment of Lord Krishna, but also secondly, most importantly, things for also us. When we go through these pastimes, there's lessons that we can learn from, things that we can withdraw also for ourselves. So it's for the pleasure of the devotees. Indra is a devotee of Krishna ultimately. So it's for the pleasure of the devotees, the interactions of the devotees, because Krishna wills, Krishna wants, and so Maya Yoga, she arranges. Whatever Krishna desires, Maya Yoga arranges.
Because I know what happened later when Lord Ram was going to certain places, she was turning to a stone. So that, I know, because I'm also reading Bhagavatam Manor, 11th canto. Started from first canto, I've reached 11th canto. So I think I'm really enjoying it. I'm not quite there, but
that's the most important thing. So even your first question is the arrangement of the Lord. I think Gujima Prabhu would be the best person.
I want to find out, the 14th plan.
How long are you going to be here for?
I'm doing now.
So doing that. Are you coming next weekend?
No, I live in Crowley, it's quite a distance.
Okay, let me give you my number.
My phone is in the car.
Yeah, and then I'll get back to you. I'll message you, just ask me the question and text again, and then we'll get back to you.
Okay. I'm so detached with mobile phones.
See, that's good. Mobile phone, they say it's like today we've got smartphones, but not so smart people.
I'm detached from the music very much. My heart is in him.
Jai. There you go.
And I'll forward it to him.
Yeah, just forward it to him.
And he will say just Krishna.
Yeah.
And then
Alright, it's a good question though. It's a good question. Thank you
It's
for
just a
asking.
curiosity, It's the saying of Tattva Brahma Jagya, so I don't inquire, so I'm not associating this a problem. I have to, because I was listening very keenly. You said about the boat. Because I've read this in the Bible. How to cross this ocean of Lycians.
So anyway, she's got my number, so reach out to us and we'll answer. None of us.
Or even my daughter, she's 29. Whenever I'm reading something, she's very curious. And she says, I want to know this and that. So now I will get her to tell me.
Okay. Good. No. And then just
Finally, if we have a minute. If we have a minute. Chapter 18. Bhagavad verse.
give up all religion.
Abandon all. My daughter thinks
Anda baik boleh bagi jawab.
fine. I was telling her about problems in India. And they say that we only pray to God. So I was telling her about this. So you see, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, abandon all varieties. How do I explain that what he is trying to say? Religion means
Krishna said that abandon all religions. He was talking at that time during the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, one of the, he was talking about when he says religion, he doesn't even say religion. He says abandon all forms of yoga.
No, but it's a different religion. Abandon all varieties. 1866.
Yeah. So the most important thing is to understand that actually, let's take the example of a ship or a boat or a plane. If I'm going to a ship to Calcutta, even if I take another ship, it's not like that ship will take me to Calcutta. there's a specific ship that goes to a specific place, to a destination. So also when we follow a particular religion, it takes us to a particular destination. But the beauty of what we share in Krishna consciousness is actually, it's like there's a hierarchy. For example, in the time of Buddhism, people didn't want to follow religion, so Krishna actually came as the Buddha in order to misguide people, but then guide people to Krishna consciousness. Every religion, Krishna says here, yuga after yuga I descend, I establish religion, and I destroy the miscreants. So every religion is designed for a specific period of time, for a specific purpose, a specific reason. And then what it is that when people have an elevated level of consciousness, then they start to inquire about what is higher than them. I was born as a Muslim.
Why were you carrying it?
Yeah, I was born as a Muslim, then Christianity, then Buddhism, and then I came to Krishna consciousness. So you've got to realize that it's like an elephant. When your consciousness is at a certain level, now you're ready to go to university. When your consciousness is at a certain level, now you're about to do your bachelor, your degree. So that's also religion.
But that applies present day also.
It also does, but how many people are just going to abandon religion like that, and then surrender everything to Krishna? Not a lot of people. So we have to kind of guide people bit by bit. Okay, like look, Prabhupada said that. Prabhupada said in his saying that, look, we're not telling you to change your religion, just become a good Muslim, a good Christian, a good Buddhist, whatever, just become good. Because when you become good, when you learn to love God, then Krishna will guide you in the heart in how to come to Him. So when I talk to people, I just encourage them to be a good person in whatever religion you're following. Because every religion is there for a purpose, it's there for a reason. And it's serving its purpose if it's followed correctly. And then eventually you'll come to Krishna consciousness. Krishna will guide you.
What's the Mahabharata?
Yeah, so if you tell people just give up all religion and be Krishna consciousness, there's going to be hostility there. So I mean, this is where separation happens. So you've got to find it in a more appropriate way to tell people. Like, okay, you're a Muslim, okay, practice Islam, you're a Muslim. And then later on, Krishna will guide you, just like He guided me. Alright? Have some prashadam. I will. Bring your daughter here next time. You can ask her questions.
It must be 10 years I've been coming here. I was stuck in 2020, so this is after 3 years I'm putting my feet here. Yeah.
So what is the next week? What is the progress? Any program?
No, it's just the next party at 7 p.m. So there's no program, it's just kirtan and chanting and then...
No, but you say next week Saturday something is there.
Yeah, same thing. I just wanted his daughter to come so she can ask questions herself. It's nice, because me, when I was in
everybody's quiet.
I was very
No one's running.
I was reading Bible, Quran, this and that, and I just had so much questions.
Then end up, now you know what you're doing.
Yeah, now I know. It's not like I'm just following blindly. Krishna says that, Krishna Prabhupada says, don't surrender your intelligence, use your intelligence to surrender. Don't follow blind faith. Actually know what you're following.
We as living entities are not meant to follow like cats and dogs in the Gita. You're supposed to love everyone. But there are certain things that annoys me, but because we are in the material platform, in the hovering between a mode of goodness and passion, sometimes you become envious or something.
But that's why Prabhupada's given us this one. I was kind of, I'm preparing for a class today, and I'm talking about the three modes of material nature. As long as you're in this world, you'll always be in contact with the three modes of material nature. But Srila Prabhupada has given us Krishna consciousness. He's given us this one. And then when we function within this realm of Krishna consciousness, and we're with devotees, we're having prashadam, we're doing all these variety of activities, it helps us, it pushes us to the mode of goodness. And when you're in the mode of goodness, you see things as they are, not as you are.
Yeah, you say that. When you wear red glasses, you see the world as
Yeah.
So,
when you're practicing Krishna consciousness, you see the world through purity. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says that real intelligence is seeing the soul or seeing Paramatma within every living entity. That Krishna actually resides within the heart of a dog, a cat, a human being, everyone. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually feeding a dog once with the water, and that dog became liberated.
Yeah.
what about Jagai and Madai?
Exactly. The worst of the worst. But somehow they become a devotee. So that's why one of the most important things is that when people come to the temple, whoever we see around us, we should know about. Because we don't know what their past life is. We don't know who they could be right now. They could be a great Rishi or great Maharaj or whatever it is. We don't know about that. So then when we disrespect people, when we offend people, then it ruins and spoils our own spiritual life. So we should try and be really conscious to, Trinada Peace and give respect to everyone else, but don't expect any respect from yourself. Anyways.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. There was no actual moment that Krishna had to fall into that. But why did he come into that form? Do you know the story? Alright, so basically what had happened was that Krishna had a devotee called Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was a devotee of Krishna. But Prahlad Maharaj was in a very difficult circumstances situation. He used to go to a school, and that school was basically students full of demons, demoniac students. And his father, not only was he in a school full of demoniacs, his father was also a demon. He was the greatest of the greatest demon. And the father was like so much lusty for power, he wanted to actually rule the whole world, the whole universe. So therefore, Hiranyakashipu is his name. You can see the one that's in the flame. So what happened was Hiranyakashipu went to Lord Brahma and said to Lord Brahma, please make me immortal. But then Lord Brahma said, I'm not immortal, how can I make you immortal? So then Hiranyakashipu was like, okay, that's fine. So he thought he was smart. He was like, okay, you can't make me immortal, but let me make another wish. That wish is, help me so that no animal can kill me and no human being can kill me. Nobody can kill me at the daytime and nobody can kill me at nighttime. No fish, nothing. So he kind of made all these sort of different wishes. He was trying to be strategic. He was like, if I make all these wishes, then I can be immortal. Nobody can kill me. But then at the same time, simultaneously, he was very abusive to Prahlad Maharaj because Prahlad Maharaj was a devotee of Krishna and Hiranyakashipu didn't like Krishna because Krishna killed his brother. You know this story. So Krishna killed his brother. So Hiranyakashipu had a revenge for Krishna. He was like, I'm going to kill God. I'm going to kill Krishna. So I need to be immortal first. Krishna. No, not Krishna's brother. Hiranyakashipu's brother was killed by Krishna. Yeah, not Krishna's brother. Yeah, the demon's brother was killed. So then Hiranyakashipu wanted revenge. He was like, I'm going to be immortal and then I'm going to kill Krishna. But then because Hiranyakashipu's son was a devotee of Krishna, Hiranyakashipu also hated his son. He was like, why are you a devotee of Krishna? You're a devotee of someone, my enemy, who killed my brother. So then Hiranyakashipu tried to kill his own son. He fed him to snakes, he pushed him off a cliff. Imagine if your own parents was doing that to you, he burnt him, he did all these variety of things. And then eventually the whole relationship between the son and the father was getting so intense. And the father was getting really, really angry. He was like, if your God is so powerful, show me where he is. I'm going to kill you right now. Show me where your father is. Is your father in the pillar? And then suddenly, out of nowhere, within the pillar, jumps Lord Nrsimhadev. And Lord Nrsimhadev, the reason why he's half lion, half man, the reason why he's got a slave on top of this, and the reason why Hiranyakashipu is being killed on the lap, is because, remember, Hiranyakashipu made all these wishes. So Krishna is so smart. Krishna's like, you can make all your wishes, but I'll still kill you. So he's half lion, he's half man. He's not a man, and he's not a lion. He's half. Yeah. Exactly. He wasn't in a human form, and he wasn't in an animal form. Yeah, the Shingadev. It's basically the form of half lion, half man. I mean, actually, if you specifically see it, the reason why there's a snake on top of his head is because he also said that make sure nobody kills him in the daytime and in the nighttime. So those snakes, you see, they're kind of shedding light, but at the same time it's dark. Yeah. I don't know, but it's interesting. So you can see that there's light coming on. So it's none. It's neither night nor is day. And then can you see, he's on the lap of Lord Nrsimhadev. Because he said, make sure that no animal that can fly, no animal that's on the land can kill you. So technically, he's not on the land, and he's not in the sky, he's on the lap. Oh my God, it's such genius. sing it every day. Obstacles, particularly only obstacles that's preventing us from spiritual progress. But they also pray to Lord Mashinga for material problems also. So that's why we pray it all the time. So look, there's Mashinga Day's appearance day, which is coming on the 15th of May. You should try and come if you can. And then what they're going to be distributing is these Mashinga Kavicha. So these things that's actually good for protection. So always hold on to that. It's like, you know, sometimes you see devotees. Yeah, like a big in-house big festival event. May. So try and come if you can. I think Lord Nashimide is like, he's one of the most important personalities of God, you know? He protects us from all obstacles. And then that's why you see sometimes devotees that they wear like these machine kavisha, and they silver jewelry, so that's also for protection. You can get it from the gift shop. Mashinga kavisha. So then you wear it around your tulsi, and it's good for protection. You're welcome, alright?
Got it done now? Happy now? Or you have to put it down and do it both sides. Do it very slowly. Put it down very slowly.
You can watch it.
Okay, you can't see it's talking to someone. Don't bang it, put it down slowly. Put it down. Now do both sides.
Wait,
I don't want it.
it says you.
Stops you from what? How do you play at home? He's like, he's watching. He was just smiling, he didn't say anything. Stand it back up. Get back up. Let Bomja do it, other way. Idiot. I told you let Bomja do it. It's the big place. Maxine, stop it. Don't touch it, Maxine. Excuse me.
नहीं
ரியல் ஆள் மாதிரி பண்ணிட்டு ஆள் இல்லைல்ல அது முன்னாடி இன்னும் ரியலாக இருக்கு பிரபுபாத லைக் ரியல் பர்சன் இருந்தாரா உட்காரத்துக்கு நான் வச்சுருக்காளா அந்த பில்லு உட்காரத்துக்குன்னு வச்சுருக்கேன் நான் போட்டு உட்காந்து இங்கே போகணுமா இப்போ போகலாமா கொஞ்சம் உட்காந்துட்டு போகலாமா வாசல்ல அதை போட்டு நான் உட்காந்துக்கலாம் பில்லை போட்டு கொஞ்சம் உட்காந்துக்கலாமா இது ஓகே
श्रीरूपं चाप्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सागन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Sorry we stopped the music because there's going to be a class, Bhagavad Gita class. So we're going to read a chapter of the Bhagavad Gita and discuss a little bit, if you're okay with that. Thank you. Yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Roman. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopish Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopish Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhavam Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So tonight we're going to read Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, text 34. So I'm going to read now the Sanskrit. Then, sorry? 34, yeah. 11:34, yeah. The Sanskrit, and then you can repeat after me, if you like. Dronan cha bhishmam cha jayatratham cha karnam tathanyan api yodha viran mayahatam stvam jahima viyatistham yudhiyasva jitasirane sapatnan Dronam cha bhishman cha jayadratham cha karnam tathanyanapi yodha viran mayahatam svam jahima viyatistham yudhiyasva jitashirane sapatnan Dronam cha bhishman cha jayatratham cha karnam tathanyanapi yodha viran mayahatam stvam jahima viyatistham yudhiyasva jitashirane sapatnan. If someone wants to give it a go. Dronam cha bhishman jayadam yacha yanam tatanyam api yodha viran maya hatam tvam jahima vyatishta yudyasi jyase rane sapatnam. Dronam cha bhishman jayatradam cha karnam tatanyam api yodha viran mayatam svam jahima dvitsa yudyasya jatirane sapatnan. Thank you. So the translation by Srila Prabhupada. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Every plan is made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he is so kind and merciful to his devotees that he wants to give them the credit, to his devotees who carry out his plan according to his desire. Life should therefore move in such a way that everyone acts in Krishna consciousness and understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of a spiritual master. The plans of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are understood by his mercy, and the plans of the devotees are as good as his plans. One should follow such plans and be victorious in the struggle for existence. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Kakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Prasharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Prashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right. So, this is a pretty powerful verse and purport, I find personally. It speaks about the importance of having a spiritual master, and that basically life is all about Krishna's plans. He has plans for us. And so as he had plans for Arjuna on the battle of Kurukshetra, he also has plans for us all the time in general, in everyday life, and even tonight. So what I like to do usually when I give a class is to keep in mind this idea that to be guided, like to remember that it's Krishna controlling everything, and that he wants to show us something related to the present time. So like right now, he's here. Actually, his representative is Sri Guru. Are you familiar with that? Sri Guru? Sri Guru? Yeah. So from what I understand, Sri Guru is Balaram, is the brother of Krishna. And he's the guidance of life. So he's guiding us all the time. And rather we want to follow his guidance, like to pay attention of what's happening in the space, or not, that's another story. But he's here, he's always guiding us. So if we can make this class like a bit interactive, and if you participate, it's great, because what we've noticed is Krishna likes that we work as a circle, as a sangha, as a group. So this is how the clarities can come also, because, for example, in this purport, in this verse, there's many things that we can speak about, but we're not going to speak about a million things. And so the idea is to try and be guided and see what Krishna wants us to speak about right now in this present moment. It's not just whatever we want to speak about. And because he's guiding us all the time, he's not speaking to us directly, but he's, for example, if you have a thought in your mind, that's a guidance of Krishna, of Sri Guru. So don't hesitate to share it. If you think of something, if you have a question, a realization, please feel free to share it. An example I like to give is, for example, we are seated in a circle, and you have a cup in the middle. So from where I'm seated, I can see a certain aspect of the cup, but where Yuli is seated, he can see another angle, and you can see another angle. And it's by sharing all together that we can come to the conclusion that this is, for example, a cup, a white cup with like red flowers on it or something like that, because you can see the handle, I can see it, So it's by sharing, it's through the dynamic that we can discover this point that Sri Guru wants to show us. So yeah, this is the methodology I like to follow. And so the importance of a spiritual master. There's another verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 3.4. It's one of the verses that we have to learn in the Bhakti Shastri. Do you know it? 3.4? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tadvadarshinahe. Yeah. It means to understand transcendental knowledge, you must approach a self-realized soul, accept him as your spiritual master, and take initiation from him. Inquire submissively and render service unto him. Self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you, for they have seen the truth. So yeah, this is just another example like how important is a spiritual master. But I also want to quote another verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 13, text 80. So it's Srila Rupa Goswami speaking. I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya or a Shudra, nor am I a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprashta, or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. So in this verse, the servant of the servant of the servant, so it's das anudas, it's a well-known sentence. And this represents actually who we really are, our real identity, the soul, which is the servant of the servant of the servant. So in this way, we have a relation with Krishna that is indirect kind of thing, because it goes through the servant of the servant of the servant. But in a way it makes it direct as well, because in Vaishnavism it's all about beings, personal. We're all persons, we're all unique, we all have our identity, and so we all also have a personal, direct connection with Krishna. Like right now, in our conditioned state, it's covered, but we do have a personal relation with him that is direct and is unique. And in this way, nobody can take our position, and we cannot take someone else's position. But for some reason, we are not satisfied with this, and so we're in conflict with that. And from what I understand, is the reason why we're here. It's because we don't really accept our position and we want someone else's position. And also one thing, this thing of das anudas, the servant of the servant of the servant, for me it's a nice thing to remember also that we are always looking up toward the servant who is looking toward the servant. Like for example, Srila Prabhupada is not looking down on us, on his disciples. He's also looking up to his master. And from what I understand, it's also how we can be a real leader, take responsibilities and advance in spiritual path, is when we realize our eternal consequent position of servant. We are not above anyone else technically. So I don't know if someone wants to share something about this, to like kind of enter in dynamic together from what I've said, if you feel inspired, or if you have any question, or what do you think about this? If not, I can continue a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, that's one point about a spiritual master and like being consequent to our master. And there's another point in this verse it's Krishna says that he gives credit to his devotees, even though it's him controlling everything. So, what do we do when Krishna gives us credit? We take the credit. Of, sorry?
We should thank him. We shouldn't accept him, right? We should thank him for giving this opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good reaction, but in our conditioned state, we are often tempted to take the credit, isn't it? It's like, oh, it's true, I've done so well. You want to say something? Yeah, so it's to give it back, yeah. It's not to take it for us, it's to give it back to Krishna, yeah. That's a good one. Anything else? No? So I go back to Krishna's plans. So Krishna has plans for us. It's already like all written in a way. But still we want to control, no? We don't accept his plans. Why? So we don't accept Krishna's plans. Even though we may know that he has plans for us, we agree with that, but still we want to be in control. So why?
Our desires. Our desire. We say it that please give me this, please give me that, instead of waiting just to give him what he has got his plan. We keep on adding something to that. Because I think our desires keeps on asking, please give me this, please give me that, instead of waiting for his plans to come to us.
So if I understand what you say, is we are more like asking for things rather than
asking for things what we want,
yeah.
instead of waiting for what he has got for us, to wait for us as per his plan. We are imposing our plans and demanding from him, because of probably we have got those desires in our mind to ask him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure either. But
But since you asked why we ask, because I think that is our desires, because of this physical world, everything it's manifested, the desires, and then we don't understand that he has got plan for us. We should wait for that. What we keep on asking, it's something we not trusting him, and we are asking what we want from him.
yeah, I think you said something. We don't trust him. Yeah, I think that's a good point. We don't really have faith in a way in him.
So that's why we keep
It's
on
limited.
asking him instead of waiting to come to us.
Yeah. Thank you. Do you want to say something?
Also, even though we know that Krishna has plans for us, we can also guarantee that most time our plans are coinciding with Krishna's plans. Our plans that we want sense enjoyment. Krishna ultimately, when he says that he's protecting his devotees and his devotees, he's talking about our spiritual side. So we're so engrossed in the material conception of life and the material body and how we can be comfortable and situated in this world, but actually Krishna doesn't want us to be situated. He wants us to all return back to him. So therefore our plan is sense enjoyment. Can you hear me?
I can hear you okay. Get the mic, yeah? Get the mic.
Okay. Better now. So, like I was saying, when we talk about how Krishna has plans for us, what we can establish and understand is that those plans are ultimately there to help us in our spiritual life. But for many of us, we know that there is a spiritual self, but we're too engrossed in the material self. we're always busy trying to make comfortable situations and circumstances in our life. We're trying to be stable in this world, comfortable in this world, situated in this world. But that's not the goal of life. The goal of life is not to be situated in this world. It's actually to return to Krishna. So when Krishna talks about how, yeah, he has plans for us, that plan is ultimately to make us realize that we're in this material world, we're suffering, we're not really happy, and whatever form and shape of happiness we're experiencing is like a drip of water in a desert. And actually, ultimately, you know, we're an unwanted guest in this world. We're not really wanted, so we need to get out and go to him.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah, thank you. Someone wants to say something? Yeah, go ahead.
I had a question.
Yeah. Good
So-
luck for the answer.
So you were saying that we have this.
Shishirada Gokulananda ki jai.
So you were saying that we have this like desire to control, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You're saying because you're talking about Krishna's plans, and you're saying that even though we know he has his plans, we still have the desire to control. And then I think she answered that, and you seem to accept that it's because we have our own desires. That's why we want to control, right? So I was wondering, like, where do these desires come from? These material desires.
Where do these desires come from? That's a good question. Someone has an idea? Yes? I give the mic.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We born with so many desires, and that is from our past carrying out in this life to fulfill. So it's called vasanas. So everybody has different vasanas, and they want to fulfill in this life. But underneath the current is to self-realization, which Lord had planned for us, and that is that we are moving towards that side. But we are not that strong enough to leave our materialistic desires and just surrender to Krishna for his plan for us. So desires are carrying on from last many janmas, not only one janam, birth. Is that?
So is it, if I understand it, it has accumulated through past lives and, yeah? We're born with that. But
where does desire at birth come from?
Yeah.
Because when we separate from the Lord, that time our attention, our senses goes out. They only want to fulfill some happiness, which is our own reflection, which is our God's reflection is everywhere. Like one sun is reflecting everywhere, but we are mistaken that light is only from the sun or from the Lord. So we are just want to fulfill and feel happiness. So, but we are taking small happiness, but we forgot our ocean of bliss is connecting with Krishna and get that.
Thank you. Yeah, and maybe something we'll add to this is, I think you spoke about freedom. So what I see also is a desire for being independent from him. Maybe, we want to see what it's like to control, to be independent. So ultimately, Krishna is like, okay, no problem. You go and do your things, and we're here. So, in my opinion, also, it's about this. It's wanting to be independent, experience freedom. Do you want to say something, Karan? Yeah.
If I can just add to this, if I understood correctly,
I can't hear you.
You're talking about where the desires come from. So from my understanding, it comes from association, So when we associate with material natures, we develop those desires. Because the soul is eternally blissful and full of knowledge and eternal, three items. The soul is originally pure and it has it is pleasure seeking naturally. But because that pleasure seeking inclination is indirectly reposed towards material nature, through which it can never actually be satisfied, the material desires keep piling on top of each other. But when these desires are directed towards our eternal constitutional position, which is spiritual in service of the Lord, is when the desires can actually be fulfilled. So I think that's where material desires, they just keep going. And in that way, when one material desire after another causes impressions on the mind, which Mataji was saying, vasanas, which are strong impressions on the mind, which carry on life after life.
Yeah, so you see, this is the point of everybody sharing, is we all discover new things, like it's not like this, it's not me giving the class, it's Sri Guru acting through us, so if we continue like this, it's nice because we can expand on this point and discover more. So Yuli? No? Don't have any realization? Because I don't have anything to say. So what is real freedom? Because we're talking about we want to be free, we want to experience like independence, and we think that doing whatever we want is real freedom, but really, like, is it that or is it something else?
So you're asking what is real freedom?
What is real freedom, yeah.
I guess it's like when we can do what's best for us, like what's really best for us.
And so, yeah, what's best for us, yeah. And so, do you know what's best for you?
No.
No?
So as long as we're in this material world, we are succumbed to our senses, our sense of taste. We know that's, like, let's say someone may have diabetes or something like that, but then they see something really delicious. And rationally speaking, they know they shouldn't have that. But because, as Bhaktivedanta mentions, that the senses are like a network. They're like just a network that of sin. Basically, it degrades us, basically. So therefore, we know that, let's say someone has a diabetes, they see something delicious, they know rationally I shouldn't eat it, but they still eat it because of that sense, how strong the senses are. The senses are so strong that sometimes it overrides all rationality, all logic. We know we're in this material world, we're suffering, we're not happy, but we're still chasing for what is so-called happiness. So real freedom means that when we can be free from such senses and actually everything is engaged to Krishna, and then we're able to experience the highest and utmost bliss in the service of the Lord.
So yeah, we're controlled by our senses. Yeah. There's a gentleman there who wants to say something. Yeah.
It's a beautiful question, and I agree with you, because doing what we want is still not freedom, because we're dependent on the fulfillment of our desire to get that happiness. If it's not fulfilled, we get upset, we get unhappy and angry. So not having any dependence on anything for our happiness is true freedom, which means having no desires.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I will just add to it that in the material platform, we think that like freedom and servant is like two different things. It's not equal. And here in Krishna consciousness, we need to serve the source, to serve Krishna. It's like real freedom. So the first question we need to ask is freedom from what? And as the Prabhus here said, that we need to be free from our suffering. That I think this is much more the majority of the people want, but the ways that we think like, no, freedom is not serving, it's not, can't be. And here we try to change this platform. That yes, we want to serve, and this is how we want to be free, but we want to serve the right goal or the right person.
One thing I want to also add to it, it's not so much about freedom, but still the concept is relevant. That in this material world, one person's happiness is another person's cause of suffering. So what our so-called freedom is, sometimes it also enslaves other people around us. So
Say again? What?
Our so-called freedom can sometimes enslave others. It causes suffering and harm to others. So at least materially speaking, freedom is really taking shelter of Krishna. Otherwise, if we try and take freedom of anything else and everything else, there's always going to be some sort of conflict, tension, friction, some sort of problems around us.
Yes.
But I said that about senses. Senses are bound with so many things. But if we are transferring them from lower to higher happiness, like join with Krishna. If you love to sing for Krishna. If you want to hear something good, hear Lord's name. So divert all the attention to the higher. So that's one way of freedom. And what is the freedom? It's not a country freedom, or it's free from bondage, free from our attachments, free from our ignorance. So many layers are there, free from there. So this bondage is coming from our own self. We are holding on to. We have to leave, not from other people who can give us freedom. That's our work on this planet. Hare Krishna.
So if I understand from what we shared here, in a way, to surrender is to follow Krishna's plans. The more we are attached to our plans, the more we suffer. And the more we accept Krishna's plans, the more we surrender. It's something like that. Yeah. So, what are we waiting for? Plans. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, I totally agree with you. And that's what it is. It's like being free from bondage is not something that we can do on our own. So you're correct that when we do follow the plans of Krishna, when we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna empowers us. He gives us the ability. Like I was mentioning yesterday, that Krishna says that he is the ability in man. So therefore, when we surrender to Krishna, he gives us the ability to be able to overcome bondage or attachment to so many things in this world. Otherwise, like I said, we know that something is hurting us, but yet we're still attached to it. Because even though it's hurting us, simultaneously it's giving us so-called pleasure. So sometimes we're ready and we're prepared to take as much suffering as possible for a little bit of enjoyment.
Yeah, because we don't know better as well. So, as long as we don't experience some kind of spiritual pleasure, like some little drop of mercy, at least I've noticed personally in my path, I've received, very little drops of mercy. That's what gives me also the enthusiasm and the will to surrender, at my level, But for most people, unfortunately, like if you don't follow an authentic spiritual path, all you know is these little material pleasures that give you very limited pleasure, temporary pleasure. And so, yeah, I'm just going to share because I feel like this is a point that's related to things I'm experiencing in the present. Is when in this path, in Krishna consciousness, so you receive these little drops of mercy, it gives you the enthusiasm, the will to continue, but it doesn't always come. And so challenges keep coming. So it's nice to affirm yeah, Jai Prabhupada, Hare Krishna when everything is nice, when you feel good, But when you don't feel good, when you have challenges, when you're going through a tough time, do you still affirm? Or do you suddenly, abandon, get depressed and things like this? And I've noticed personally is when you keep affirming, when you keep your enthusiasm, you as much as you can, when you continue to have faith, then you can go to the next level, even in tough time, Otherwise it's, you can see it as a failure, but you can also learn from the teachings that you get when you're suffering and you're kind of giving up as well. So you never really lose, you never really fail. It just depends on how you see it, My guru said, in this path in Krishna consciousness is a bit like a boxing game. It's not because you get knocked out that you lose. It's if you don't get back on your feet, So I think it's very true.
I would like to add there, sometimes it seems that, so as you rightly said, would be remembering and stay on the path when the going gets tough. But if you were to look from experiences, it seems in tough times actually you tend to believe in God more. It's actually in the good times you tend to forget Him. So I think if you are attached to Him in good times, I understand, of course, in bad times you can forget Him, but there is also a likelihood that if you had remembered Him in good times, you will actually try and hold on to Him in that bad time. Mm-hmm. That might be your only rope to come out of it. So just one reflection. Yeah.
Interesting point. Yeah, in very bad time, I guess. Yeah, for sure.
As Queen Kunti says, give me bad times because I tend to remember you in bad times. Of course, we are nowhere there, but yeah, just a thought.
So a question that comes to me related to this is, do we absolutely need bad times to learn, or can we learn even in joy and happiness all the time? Karen?
I guess it depends on what you mean by joy and happiness. Because if joy and happiness is material happiness, then there's one verse in the Bhagavatam which says that if one is trying materially to go for high birth, education, beauty, or opulence, one cannot feelingly surrender unto the Lord, or one cannot with feeling perform service unto the Lord. So if those material things, there's sometimes an obstacle for the inner feeling and devotion to come out. So in that way, it can also be an impediment, which may be why the Lord bestows upon His devotees bad times. Like I think also in the Bhagavatam is mentioned that Krishna says that for someone who's dear to Him, He gives them everything like opulence and wealth. But for someone who's very dear to Him, He takes everything away.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
And actually what Karen Prabhu mentioned is really amazing, because we can see that from Srila Prabhupada's own life. he was trying to spread Krishna consciousness in India and simultaneously running his business. But then eventually it came to a brink point where Krishna took his business away and took everything away from him, and all that was left for him was just Krishna, spiritual life, Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada himself says that. Srila Prabhupada says that when you're coming closer to Krishna, when Krishna is dear to you and you're dear to Krishna, then Krishna takes everything away from you. But that's actually a blessing, because again, as Karan Prabhu said, that sometimes, most times actually, material prosperity can be an impediment. Yes, we can dovetail it for Krishna, we can utilize it for Krishna, but that requires a certain level of training and willpower and perseverance and shakti and spiritual stability. Most of us were still thriving for that.
Yeah, you want to...
I just wanted to appreciate Mohan Prabhu's example of Srila Prabhupada, because we see that Prabhupada was fixed in determination when he was penniless and when the movement had spread to worth of millions and millions.
Yeah, and this reminds me, Sutapa Prabhu one time did the class a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, I don't remember. And he was saying that Mahaprabhu, when he came, apparently even the journey that he did, like to go down to South India and then go back up, apparently this is also a meaning to show us that you have to fall down to then go back up. For Mahaprabhu did this like on purpose to show us this. And so apparently we shouldn't be afraid of falling down, because it's going to happen and it's only going to help us to go up. And for me also it's a nice thing to remember that Krishna is doing all these things to us through his energy, through Maya and everyone. Not to push us down, to keep us down, but to lift us up, even if it can feel sometimes like we are going down, but because he wants us to go the highest as possible. So it's to keep this faith in every situation. And actually Prabhupada, I remember, said one time, don't be afraid of, the word he uses, tribulation. Like don't be afraid of bad experiences, continue. So.
One more thing I would like to add is from personal experience. It seems, I think, we are the settlement. We could not get liberated in Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga. And the person of Kali Yuga is very, very complex as well. So Krishna has to do very complex operations on him to get him into the realization. And I think somewhere all these experiences that we face, especially after coming into Krishna consciousness, it's somewhere I think is meant for us actually. In a way, he is trying to unwind us out of our own entanglements. But of course, the path may not be very smooth, because as much as you are entangled, more complex treatment is requirement for taking the patient out of the problem, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, for me we got a good point in this conversation tonight, like to not be afraid of challenges and just to remember that another thing. It's not Prabhupada saying this; it's just someone. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train. For me, I don't know. For me, it's a nice teaching tonight. So so I don't know if someone has anything else to add to this. Otherwise, it's almost time for the artist, so we can end up here. Yeah. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Bhaktivedanta Prabhu ki
Jai.
Hello. Hare Krishna. Welcome to everyone. The Aarti will begin as soon as the Lordships are coming up. The Aarti is on the right hand side on the top here, in case you would like to follow. Jayo Radha Gokul Nand, Radha Gokul Nand, Radha Gokul Nand Shri Radhe. Jayo Radha Gokul Nand, Radha Gokul Nand, Radha Gokul Nand Shri Radhe. Jayo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jayo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman.
इधर आइए
Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai.
आपको जाना पड़ेगा
Kiba Jayo, Jayo Gaura Chande, Arati ko Shobha. Gaura Chande, Arati ko Shobha. Kiba Jayo, Jayo Gaura Chande, Arati ko Shobha. Janavi Tatavane, Jagman Lobha. Janavi Tatavane, Jagman Lobha. आरती को रे न ब्रह्मा आदि देव गाने
बाजे परम रसाला परम रसाला शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे भज कर ताला मधुर मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाला बहु कोटि चंद्रजीनी वंदन ज्वाला गाला देसे वनमाला तोर जलमाला शिवासुक नारदा प्रेम गदना भक्ति विनोदा देवे गौर रसंपादा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौर रसंपादा जयो जयो गौरचंदे आरती को शोभा जानवी काटवरी जगमन लोभा गौरंगे आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरंगे आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय 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 जय हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Himate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vachata Deshatarini Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vachata Deshatarini Hey Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Gauranitai.
asking everyone to put their arms up in the air nice and high. Yeah, that's it. Get them out of your pockets, yeah. And then, if you can repeat after me as loud as you can. Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Hare Rama! Hare Rama! Rama Rama! Hare Hare! Okay, you did very well. There's nothing wrong with your lungs. So the next part, we're going to do a series of little prayers. It's called Prema Dwani. For example, if I say Vrindavan Dham Ki, you say? Okay, yeah, okay. The more enthusiastic you do it, the more benefit you get. So just put your hands together. If you have room, you can bow down. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Parivrajakacharya, Sotara Satri Shimad, His loving divine grace of Vaicharana, Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Sri Rupsi Sanatan Bhatta Raghunathi Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Prem Siko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Madan Mohan Shamakun Radha Kun Shri Sigiri Govardhan Ki. Shri Gangamai Jamunamai Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Srimati Vrinda Devi Ki. Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki. Ayodhya Dham Ki. Dwarka Puri Dham Ki. Bhaktivedanta Manor Dham Ki. Harinam Sankirtan Ki. Srila Prabhupada Santal Book Distribution Ki. Vaishnava Sangha Vaishnava Seva Ki. And the next one, if I say all gross assembled devotees, you say Hare Krishna. Okay, all gross assembled devotees. All gross assembled devotees. All gross assembled devotees. Okay, all gross to the Lord Sri Shishi Guru and Shri Gauranga. We humbly request everyone to sit down just for 2 minutes. We're going to say the prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, who is the protector of all the devotees, and Prahlad Maharaj. Then after that, we're serving some nice Mahaprasad in the reception. Thank you.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Radadayine. Hiranyakashipu Rakshaha. Jai Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank you everyone for coming to Bhaktivedanta Manor this evening. So the next arti will be at 9 o'clock, and we are serving some Mahaprasad next door in the reception. So make sure you all get some Mahaprasad. And thank you very much for coming. So tomorrow, Sunday, the darshan will be open all day, even in the afternoon, and then bank holiday Monday, we're expecting a lot of guests as well, will be open in the afternoon. So if you are not doing anything too important, please come again. We're always happy to see you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
We have fun.
Yeah.
I don't like doing things that are not fun.